politics with Shikuru. We're the future.
Hello everybody, this is Geopolitics again. We're taking you back to Sochi, where President Vladimir Putin has been talking to the reporters and has talked about a lot of things. You know, these are world leaders and, you know, they lead large parts of people in the world. So he has been talking about the summit in Alaska, but also the summit in SCO in China, and also the military parade. He talked about all of the things. So here's his video where he has been talking about the things, but he also discussed the war in Ukraine.
Another ally of the US, Qatar.
I was surprised.
What about the reaction or the absence of reaction of the US?
Понятно. Спасибо. Так, Тара Рид, пожалуйста, здесь.
Okay, Tara Reid.
President Putin, it's a tremendous honor to speak to you. I want to start with a thank you that will lead to the question. I used to work for Senator Biden and Leon Panetta in the United States of America, and I came forward about some things in corruption in 2020, and I was targeted by the Biden regime to the point where I had to flee. Margarita Simeon, who was a hero to me, helped me, and Maria Butina get through, and I was able to get political asylum thanks to you. And with your collective effort, you saved my life. So thank you. I was a target and my life was in immediate danger. What I can say about Russia is Lublyo Russia. I have found it to be beautiful. The propaganda in the West was wrong about Russia. I love Moscow. The people have been very warm and welcoming. It's efficient, and for the first time, I feel safe and I feel more free. I work for RT, and I've really enjoyed it. I'm given a lot of creative freedom to work in my sphere in geopolitical analysis, and so thank you to the Valdai Club for recognizing my intellectual pursuits. I appreciate you. So this is my question. I have met other Westerners that have come here for sanctuary to Russia, also for economic reasons and for shared values. How do you feel about watching this stream of Westerners coming in, asking to live in Russia, and will it be easier to get Russian citizenship? And you gave me, by presidential decree, Russian citizenship, which is a tremendous responsibility and honor. So, я русский. Спасибо большое.
Вы сказали о...
You've mentioned common values and how we treat people who come from different countries wanting to live here, who share these common values with us. You see, in our political culture, there have been a lot of good, a lot of questionable, and the identification document of citizens of the Russian Empire. There was no such field as nationality. Soviet passport had that, but the Russian one didn't have that. It had a religion. There was a common value, a religious value, belonging to Eastern Christian religion, Orthodox religion. Of course, there were other values, but this was the one that determined what kind of values you shared, which is why today it doesn't matter to whether someone comes from the east, from the west, but if they share our values, this is our person, and that's how we're going to treat you, which is why you feel the way you feel. And that's my attitude as well. As for any legal administrative procedures, we have taken decisions that facilitate the chances for those who want to tie their lives, whether it's for a few years, facilitate the process that lowers the barriers for them. It's not that we see a huge inflow, but hundreds of thousands of people, or I believe we've received 2,000 applications, 1,800, and this inflow continues. And it's not just for political reasons, but for values, mostly from European countries. Their gender terrorism that they're conducting towards children. Not a lot of people can tolerate it. So they're trying to find safe havens, and they find themselves here. And we will continue to support them as far as we can. You've also mentioned, I've taken note, I love Russia. You and I have a lot of common. You said I love Moscow. And we have a lot of common because I love Moscow as well. So let's operate on that.
For someone born in St. Petersburg, that's worth a lot. That's a revolutionary event. Mr. President, to follow up on that question, a couple of months ago there was this really unique piece of news that at the front lines of the special military operation in Donbass, an American citizen perished who fought on our side, Michael Gloss, who was the son of the deputy head of the CIA. An American already attracts attention, especially from such a family. Were you aware of him prior to when it has become known publicly?
No, I was not aware of it. I found out when there was a draft decree on him acquiring a medal for bravery. And I will be very frank, I was quite surprised. He had complicated parents. His mother is the acting deputy of the investigative branch of the U.S. His father is the retired Navy officer in charge of one of the largest companies supplying Pentagon. So it's not your usual family. I was not aware of any of that. Was just speaking about her points of view, how she found herself here, and he found himself here for the very same reasons. When he tried to enter the university, his parents were not aware. He came to Turkey, then he came to Moscow. He came to the inscription office, and he says that he shares the same values as Russia. Human rights, person's right to his own language, to his own religion. He advocates for human rights. And Russia fights for the very same values. And he's ready and he wants to fight for those values with an arm in his hands. He received special preparation. He wasn't just conscripted in the armed forces, but in the elite branch of armed forces, in the air defense forces. Of course, they're all fighters. He was fighting at the forefront. And he fought courageously. He was heavily wounded. He received a strike wound together with his friend in battle. Another friend pulled them out of a burning vehicle, receiving 25% of burns across his body. He pulled them out, carried them to the woods, and just imagine this young man of 22 years old bleeding out himself, tried to provide first aid to his friend who was wounded. Unfortunately, Ukrainian UAV noticed them, launched a mine, and both were killed. I believe that these people, they are the core of the MAGA organization who support the current Trump administration because they fight for the same values as himself. They are like that, and he's like that as well. What's that they sing in the anthem? The US is the land of the brave. So he truly proved with his bravery, with his behavior, he laid down his life. And a significant part of US citizens can be proud of him. How this US citizen that we just spoke about, I've handed over this medal to Mr. Witkoff, and when we did that, I've asked to come, and they did come, his brothers in battle, and the head of the Air Defense Forces, as well as the brigade commander, the commander of the group, the very same officer who took him out of the burning vehicle, and who, just as I've mentioned, were basically wounded. 25% of his skin was burned. And then he recovered and he went back to the battlefield, by the way. So yes, just recently, at the initiative of the Donetsk People's Republic Initiative, one of the schools in Donbass was awarded the name of the American and Russian soldier. That is the school with specialization in English language, and we will do everything so it stays in great condition, as well as other schools in Donbass. We will give all our special attention to it. So that's the kind of person we are talking about. His family and the country who supports his points of view can be proud of him.
Anton Khlopkov.
And overall, I've spoken about people of different nationalities who consider themselves Russian soldiers. Despite being American, he was a Russian soldier. Chinese president on the global governance. They align with our ideas of Eurasian security to compare our notes, because this was truly of global nature, not just bilateral nature. So I highly assess the results of that visit. And I believe this was another important step forward in the development of our relations.
Mr. President, you are the first leader in the world who called Trump a comfortable person to talk to.
You see, I speak from the heart. As I've already mentioned, of course he likes using big words and speaking point blank and just directly tackling the issue. But he's, as I've already mentioned, protecting his national interests as he sees fit. But sometimes it's easier to hear a direct approach, to understand, instead of ambiguous phrasings. And I'm not saying it just to pay a compliment. We've talked for an hour and a half. I've presented my position and he listened attentively. He did not interrupt me. Then I listened to him very closely. We've exchanged our opinions. These are very complex issues. I will not go into detail because we don't do that. But he said that this will be complicated. Yes, of course. Obviously. We started to go into certain details. We have discussed them. There was a discussion. There was a discussion. I believe you should do this, you should do that, take off your hat. No. There was none of that. Of course, it is important that this leads to a logical conclusion, that there are definite results, but it is a complicated process. And I say that constantly, that it's important to reach a balance of interests, to reach a consensus. It is difficult. But if we approach this, and if we reach those results during the discussion, then these are truly tremendous agreements, and we can hope that they're long-lasting.
Did you tell him anything about the history of Ukraine?
No, that's not funny. I've spoken about this with my other American colleagues. We've truly discussed of possible ways of resolution. We've been quite frank. We've spoken honestly. It's hard to predict what will come out of it. But we will continue. We're ready to continue this discussion.
Whose idea was it to meet in Alaska?
Does it really matter? The important thing is that we did meet. But we were comfortable in Alaska. You see, they still have Orthodox presence there. They have Orthodox churches. People come to services, and the services are delivered in English. And for certain commemorative events, once that English service is over, the father, just addressing the Russian community, says the word, "I congratulate you," in Russian, and everyone responds in Russian as well. It's a true testament.